guys, Patrick from Anderson Design and Fabrication. We got a 2011 Highlander in here today that we're going to be doing an install on our 1.5" lift kit with relocation brackets for your sway bars. First thing you want to do is you want to get all your tires off, get a car jacked up. Once you got that done, you got two 22mm bolts right here you got to pull out, unhook your brake line, unhook your ABS sensor, and disconnect your sway bar right here. Once you have everything loose down below, you will need to unclip the plastic shrouding that is covering the top hats. There's these little snaps up under here all the way across the top. Okay, once you have all the snaps undone, plastic shrouding, now you can access the top of the strut. 3 14mm nuts. Quick note for you guys, once you guys have the strut out, make sure you put a bungee cord or something around the hub and keep it from falling outwards. Otherwise the CV joint will actually pull out of it and cut. Okay, once you have your strut out, now you can install the front spacer. Now note, the hub pointing towards the outside of the car right here, the hub mount. The stud that's pointing towards the center of the car, like towards the grill right there, will be where the logo faces. Install your nuts. You will have to lift up on the top hat and thread the nuts on. Once that's done, you can get them all nice and tight. What we tend to do is use another wrench to hold the top, and then use that final wrench, 14mm, to tighten the final nuts down. Okay, during the reinstallation of the front struts, it does help to have two guys. One guy to feed it up through the bottom, while the other guy is putting the nuts on the top of the top hat to get it fastened. Once the top of the strut's fastened in, get your two main 22mm bolts in there, get them torqued down, reinstall the brake line and the ABS brackets. Alright, the next thing, install your sway bar relocation bracket. Make sure it's pointing up. And note that there are 4 brackets in the kit, 2 with larger holes and 2 with shorter holes. The shorter hole ones will be the ones for the front, the larger hole will be for the rear. Once the sway bar brackets are all installed, now repeat the same exact thing on the other side. Alrighty, now that we're done with the front, now we can move on to the rear. Disconnect end link. Disconnect the ABS sensor, and back here, disconnect your brake line. Okay, once you got all your lines disconnected, another 22mm end wrench and a socket. Hopefully you got an impact, because sometimes these are pretty tight, and then there's just 2 of them. Okay, now to access the upper portion of the strut, there's one 10mm bolt right here behind the little access panel. Pop that off, and then these will slide right off. Now you have access to the top of the strut. Now the whole strut can be slid out. Same thing like the rear. Spacer on. On some models you do have to grind down the studs on the factory top hat just enough for it to clear all the way. Otherwise it gets really close. Next thing we'll do is we'll feed the strut back up into the car, put the new spacer on it, and get the factory nuts. Get them on there. This is also where it helps to have 2 guys, but sometimes you gotta make do with what you got. Alright, now that we got the strut all in, now we need to install the rear brackets. Remember, the smaller hole goes in the rear. There's gonna be M10s. Make sure it's pointed straight up and down, and tighten them all in. Okay, once we got the strut back in, now we need to install the sway bar relocation bracket. Make sure it's pointed straight up and down, and tighten. Remember, the larger hole goes in the front. Larger hole meaning 12mm versus the 10mm for the rear. All done with the install, guys. Here's our 1.5" lift kit. Of course, it's gonna settle out a bit once we get it back on the ground. Just wanna say thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more footage. If you guys have any questions, feel free to call us, email us, shoot us